Viktor Frankl said, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms. To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's way." This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson. Stay tuned for the next hour as Sue explores the human psyche, what makes us tick, and how to live better, more fulfilled and more meaningful lives. Only on 101.9 High FM.
Hello, this is Sue Jackson on the Finding Human program, and my guests today are Avital and Chandrey Howburg, and our topic is the artist of your life. And if you can't recognize my voice, I'm sorry, I'm just very hoarse today, but I'm determined to do this program because it's a very moving one, and I would like to get it out there so that a lot more people can hear it. Hello, Avital, and hello, Chandrey. How are you both?
Hi, we're very well, and yourself?
Good, thank you.
Good morning, Sue. Thank you for having us.
So nice to see you both. Now, I just want to tell you a bit about Avital. She was born in Jerusalem. She came here very, very many years ago, and she's a gallery owner at Bokarp in the Cape. When she came to South Africa, she actually came on a commission, and the person who welcomed her at the airport would later become her husband. But she has gone on to do really extraordinary things. She started a program at Pollsmoor Prison, an art program, and she's going to tell us that story. You were born in Jerusalem. What is a nice Jewish girl doing at Pollsmoor Prison?
Okay, yeah, I was born and raised in Jerusalem. My parents has raised me to be Or Lagoim, to be a light to the other nations. So my first job in South Africa was actually, I worked for the Israeli government, and I actually came here to work with the Jewish community and the youth as a shlicha. And I did that for 2 years. And yes, it's true. The first person I met in South Africa was my husband. We met at the airport. The Zionist Federation has sent him to collect the new shlicha, and the rest was history. At one stage, when I finished working in South Africa, we went to Israel. Jonathan joined me later, and it was very difficult for him to settle in to begin with. So we came back to South Africa, and yeah, we were going back and forth a couple of times. The first thing that really disturbed me as an outsider living in South Africa was the crime and the poverty. And I thought, okay, this is my responsibility, because I've learned as a child at home that, when you want to make a change, the change got to start with you. You don't have to wait and think, oh, I can't change the world. You can. You can change the world by action of one person. So the funny story is that I went to a therapist, a kinesiologist, who was doing healing on me. And then out from her little pocket jumped a little bird. And that was like about 20 years ago, I think. Yeah. I was so moved and so amazed from that bird. And I asked her, how do you work with birds? She said, she uses birds and she buys them from Pollsmoor. And at the time, I was very new here. I did not know what Pollsmoor is. To me, she just said Sea Point. To me, I didn't know what Pollsmoor is. I thought it's the name of a place.
Yeah.
So later on, I called Pollsmoor. I looked for it at 1023 at the time, and I called Pollsmoor and I asked to speak to the birds department. And they were laughing, and they said to me, a bird department? Do you mean the bird project? And I said, yeah, whatever. I'm looking to buy birds. So the gentleman told me that there is a bird project at Pollsmoor, and I can come. It's open to the public, and I just have to speak to the head of the bird project at the time, and I can make an appointment and come. So that's what I've done. I called and I asked for this guy. His name was Mr. Mitchell. And I asked him, are you open on Saturday or Sunday? And he was laughing, and I couldn't understand still why he was laughing at me. And I said, I'm going to come then with my children to buy the birds. So we drive there, and we arrive, and we see this huge place with huge fences, looks like a military base. And I told my children, don't worry, I'm sure they put the high fence so the birds can't run away. Yeah, I was that naive at the time. And they asked us, where are you going? We said, we're going to the bird project. And they showed us where to go, because Paulsmore really is like a little neighborhood, a big neighborhood, in fact. And we arrive there, and we go through the first gate, second gate, and the next thing we are finding ourselves in a room full of bars. My kids were climbing on the bars like little monkeys, and the next thing arrived Mr. Mitchell. And Mr. Mitchell is dressed all in orange, and my children were screaming that Primi Piatti. They thought we arrived to the pizza place, because they were also wearing orange tangerine. And there comes this guy, shaved head, full of tattoos, golden teeth, red glasses. I mean, to me as an artist, it looked, wow, I was going to draw him straight away. And I looked at him and I said, are you Mr. Mitchell? He said, yeah. I said to him, but what is this place? He said to me, it's prison. I said, this is a prison? Are you a prisoner? And he said, yeah, I am a prisoner. And it took me like a few minutes to get over the shock. And I quickly took the birds, and then he asked me for my number. And I thought, no, I'm not going to give you your number. He asked me, where are you from? I said, I'm from Plumstead. He said, you don't look like you're from Plumstead. I said, why? How should a girl from Plumstead look like? And he said, but you have an accent. And I said, yeah. But then I wasn't sure anymore if I should say where I'm coming from, because I thought, oh my God, what if they don't like Israelis here? Then I continued talking a lot of nonsense. I was very, very embarrassed. And he said to me, you know what, Mrs. Lang, you're not a good liar. And he handed over the birds. He told me he understands. And I came home. I was totally fascinated. I called my friend Sally. She's a journalist from the New York Times. And I said to her, you got to come with me. And she came with me. She was so excited she had to write an article about it, because we have never seen such a project where inmates get to raise little birds and give them love and nurturing them and loving them, something they never had in their life. And that's what sparked the idea to go there.
And we're going to get back to that shortly. Thank you.
This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson, only on 101.9 High FM.
Hello, this is Sue Jackson, and I'm back on the Finding Human program, and I'm back with my guests, Avital Lang and Chandrey Howburg. Avital, you know, I couldn't help thinking, I read a thing about tattoos, and you were talking about Mr. Mitchell. Craig, can you just put them back on the screen for a moment? And it says, sometimes the nicest people you meet are covered in tattoos, and sometimes the most judgmental people you meet go to church or temples on Sundays. Are you there?
Yeah.
That was pretty apt, hey, that. I couldn't help thinking of it as you said that about the tattoos. So go on. So you got hold of your friend, the journalist, and told her about Pollsmore. And then from there, how did you get hooked?
So I was so inspired. A whole new flame has evoked in me. And I started making inquiries on how can I go into Pollsmore and teach the prisoners art and try to prevent crime through art. And I thought, what a wonderful bridge it will be. And I wrote them numerous emails. It took about 2 years because correctional services are very slow and not very excited to let outsiders in. So I wrote a lot of emails. I was quite, what you say in English, persuasive. I did not let go. I kept on writing until one day somebody invited me for a meeting, and eventually, after they found out that it's going to cost them zero, they agreed to let me in. So,
and you were never afraid?
I was not afraid at all. I was so excited because I knew there's so much for me to learn, and there's so much for me to give. And I believe that when a place is, when a place is dark, all you have to do is come and show some light. And even if you manage to change one person's life, then it's amazing. So,
and I see your grandparents taught you about chesed and tikkun olam, putting your hand out to others, helping others. So you were actually brought up with that notion that you needed to reach out and help others. Is that right?
That's correct. I grew up in a very, I would say, revisionist home, where the love for Israel is huge, and the love to the rest of the nations is huge. And doing Tikkun Olam is one of our biggest aims as Jewish people. I mean, what else are we doing here? I always thought to myself, it can't just be that we're here to eat and sleep and have fun and do nothing. We are here to do something very important, and I have to. It's my mission. My family at the beginning was really against that because
I didn't catch that. Could you try again?
I don't know what that is. Go on.
Okay.
It's not me.
Not me either. Siri also getting involved in our conversation.
Okay.
So for me, it was really important to do that in spite of all the criticism and family that was justifyingly worried. But to me, it was good that I went into prison with the innocent heart, not knowing much, because I do have a very big faith that I've been accompanied by guides who will protect me. And the prisoners were amazing, I must say. They were very protective, they were very respectable, and they were a very, like an audience that's so thirsty. And when I heard their personal stories, yeah, when I came there, I said, I don't want to know what you did. If I'll know what you did, I will criticize you. I will have a pre-idea of who you are and what you did, and I want to give you a clean slate.
Now, was it men and women that you had, or just the men?
I started with the men, adult, and I also worked at juvenile, and I worked with female prison too. I concentrated more at medium B, which is adults. It was more productive there. It was more productive. I also seen a lot of corruption and a lot of harm done, but I decided to just go ahead with what I have in my mind and what I visioned for them, and it worked beautifully. Sometimes they couldn't help it, and they told me their personal stories. And after hearing their personal stories, it's not a surprise that the crime is so high and the poverty. If you grow up being abused in such way and getting no love and no care, sometimes the abused becoming an abuser. So,
and no education in many of those situations.
No education and hunger. And yeah, I heard some horrific stories there. Sometimes at the beginning, I must say, the first few times I came home, I was completely wiped out completely. I felt that my energies had been like sucked out, and I kept on praying and saying to myself, wow, this had a very bad impact on me at the beginning. But then I went to do some work with myself and said to myself, this is not your stories. You are participating in elevating the whole frequency there. So most likely it will have an effect on you. But after a couple of time, I developed stamina, and I could work with it. I could work with it. There was times that I even stayed in a room with like 15 people who committed murders and God knows what, and one of them stole my ceramic tools. So I turned around and I said to them, I counted 10 tools and I'm missing 5 tools here which can be used as a weapon. So I'm going to turn my back for 2 minutes, and when I turn back, the tool's going to be on the table, or else you'll never see my face again, and I don't see a queue of people standing here to help you. So I turned around, and while I turned around, I said to myself, are you crazy? These people can kill you in a second. But I had faith in them. And when I heard them arguing in their language, and when I turned around, all the tools were on the table. And I told them, I'm very proud of you. Thank you very much. And I took my tools, I numbered all of them, and I learned from them also how to be more alert and more awake, and not to be just to be there without having some sense of security.
And I suppose you also learned to be a bit more assertive.
Yes.
You probably went in there being with this kind attitude of I'll heal the world. And then you had to think, well, you know what? I also have to be quite strict here and give a few rules.
Yeah, I did. There was a time that, when you come in the prison, they take your bag and they take your cell phone. So I always told my family that from 10 in the morning till about 1 o'clock, I'm not going to be available on the phone. So don't worry. But one day I came in the prison, and unfortunately there was a terrible riot there. And there was a whole balagan, we say in Hebrew. They were fighting. Yeah. And for my security, they locked me in one of the rooms, and they forgot all about me. And I didn't have a phone. Yeah, I couldn't call anyone. And by 3 o'clock, they came and they apologized. They had a lot to resolve there. And my family were very worried because I was not answering the phone, and I had to do a lot of explanations there. But these things can happen. It happened to me also that sometimes inmates, they're very, very manipulative. Some of them can be so manipulative that they can find your cell phone number. So one of them called, and he said that he got paid to kill me. And I said to him, oh, really? How much did they offer? He said 5,000 rand. I said, oh boy, is that all? So for that price, I'm going to hang up the phone. So I said to him, why don't you tell me why you're really calling me? So he said, I call because I need airtime. I said, okay, then just tell me which cell are you and which medium are you? And he did, and I called the prison authorities and I reported him, and they went and they found the phone and they took it away. So I had to learn to be assertive. Most, the ones that have the chutzpah to find you and call and ask for all kind of benefits are the ones that unfortunately not going to make the change.
I'm sure, absolutely. But it's a fascinating story. Now, as Chandrey sent us, first of all, thank you, Chandrey. You reached out to Chai FM and told us about Avital Lang. Thank you for doing that. And also for sending the story of Isaac. Are you excited about the project yourself for this?
Yes, I am. Avital told me about it actually just in the week of my birthday. She sent me the images, which was the beginning of the year. And I told her it's very, very pretty because I know that Tali is an artist, but I've never really seen I mean, her house is filled with paintings of her own and of sculptures of her own, but I never like knew that this was something that was on her heart. And once when she showed me, I was like, geez, this is deep. Because I mean, every single image there's 6 of these paintings out there, and each one of them has such a huge meaning. And they represent her and Isaac as well. So it's such a good emotion. So
well, you know what? You sent them to me, and I was incredibly moved by them, I must admit. Chandrey, are you Afrikaans speaking?
I'm actually English. I'm English.
Okay, so do you speak Afrikaans?
I do. I'm born and raised in Cape Town.
Okay, so Avital's gallery is in Bokap. Is that how you pronounce it? Bokap.
Yes.
And so, I mean, we need someone there who can speak English and Afrikaans and Hebrew. Yeah. So you've got a good mixture there. Right, now I would like to start asking you about Isaac, because Isaac changed your life. And he brought this darkness and light into your life. And you say that you know that everyone has darkness and light within ourselves. And sometimes it's very hard to find that light. Tell me about Isaac and how you helped him find that light and how he helped you find your light.
So one day I received a phone call and I thought to myself, another one calling for airtime. And he said to me, hello, Mrs. Blank, my name is Isaac, and I got your number. He was not in my program. He said, I got your number from one of the wardens. I'm managing a band in the prison, and we need guitar. And they told us that you might be able to help. And I told him, you know what, why don't you ask the warden to send me some of the stuff you do. I would like to listen to your music, and I will take it from there. So a couple of days later, I received from a warden that works in Pollsmoor beautiful clips. I didn't know who Isaac was, but I listened to the music and my mouth literally dropped. It was really beautiful. And I thought, wow, this guy's got a pure, raw talent. And I waited for him to call me, and he called. And I told him, look, Isaac, I listened to your video, to your clips. They are magnificent. Where did you learn? He said he taught himself. And I said, how could you teach yourself? He said he playing the marimba, he playing a guitar, he can play a piano. He basically can play any instrument because he's so musical.
What a gift.
Yeah, and then I told him I'm going to purchase the guitar and I'm going to come to prison to meet you. And I did. I go to the prison. I was invited to the jazz festival in the prison, which was outstanding. The talent there was outstanding. I was so shocked. I just sat there and I clapped hands with admiration.
Did you go on your own, or did you take family with you or friends? Or?
No, I went on my own because I was the only one authorized actually to go in Pollsmoor. So I was invited firstly because I purchased the guitar and because I show interest in the band. Very quickly, I started Isaac actually managing this whole story. He is very talented. And I couldn't believe that a talent like that is in prison. So I had to ask him, what did you do? You are so gifted. What are you actually doing here? And he said to me that he stole phones and properties because he needed to prove in the neighborhood that he is such and such. And I told him, this doesn't work with your personality because you seem so intelligent. He is very intelligent. And I started talking to Isaac almost daily. I told
on the phone.
On the phone, yeah. And I went to visit every day. Obviously, I was in prison 3 times a week. So I saw Isaac quite often. And I helped him in many projects. But he was on his way out of prison, and I started helping him with his parole process. I had so much faith, and I developed such great love to that human being that I thought, I have faith in him. I know he's going to make it. He's going to be great. So I helped him, and he was out, and I told Isaac, don't go back to the Cape Flats because this is where it all started, and I want you to come and try a different lifestyle. So I organized him a place to stay, and I organized him a job in the gallery, and Isaac was flourishing, you say?
Flourishing.
He was flourishing.
Yeah.
He was beautiful. He was creating music. He wrote songs and he composed them. At one stage, there were people from America that arrived. They wanted to do a film about Isaac, and they took a lot of footage, and then they left, and fortunately, we lost contact with them, and the movie never happened. But Isaac was making music. Isaac told me, I want to make music with you because I sing, but I was very shy about my singing. I didn't want to sing to people because I was embarrassed. And Isaac gave me the confidence and told me, I'm going to play music only if you sing. And he told me, I know you can do it. So he became my mentor at one stage, and he encouraged me. And I wrote beautiful songs in Hebrew, which I did compose in 2.5 minutes, which I couldn't believe. I couldn't believe he was like the Jimi Hendrix and the Beethoven of this generation. So I would gladly send you the songs that we wrote and composed. Yeah, one of
we
them.
can even play them on the radio. We're just going for a moment.
This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson, only on 101.9 High FM.
Hello, this is Sue Jackson, and I'm back on Finding Human on High FM 101.9. I would like to thank Busi and Makundi, first of all, for keeping us on air. And then also, if you would like to contact us, please do so on SMS 34519 or telegram us on 061 895 1019. Hello, I'm back with Chandrey and Avital, and I would like to see you on the screen again, if possible. And can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, there you are. Right, so now what I would like to know, quite honestly, is what did your family think about your relationship with Isaac and how he was encouraging you? You were obviously spending a lot of time together. And was he involved with the family as well?
He was totally involved in the family. He joined the family and became a member of the family. We couldn't really explain the magic. We almost felt like it meant to be. He was helping with children, taking the kids, bringing the kids, helping on Shabbat's dinner, learned to cook Moroccan Jewish food. He was involved in every aspect of it. He at one stage we had to go to Israel for a year, and Isaac was very concerned. He thought that we're going to leave him behind, but we clearly didn't. He came with us to Israel. He lived with us in Israel, and he was that was one of his happiest time of his life, because he felt that nobody knows anything about him. And I registered him to a music school in Israel, which they gone completely mad for him. They said, who is this guy? They called him Jimi Hendrix, and they invited him to concert. And really, if Isaac would have stayed in Israel, I think he would have become a top musician.
Is that so? How amazing.
Yeah, he was very sad when we had to come back to South Africa. He was very, very sad because he felt that his life should be in Israel. He felt like a Jewish person. He even started a conversion process. And he wanted to stay there, but he didn't want to stay there without us. So when we moved back to Cape Town at 2017, he came back, and he was very afraid, and he was right to be afraid, because the influence he had here from the number gang was quite hectic. That's what brought the end to him, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah.
Awful. Right.
Yeah.
So just tell me now, you started, well, first of all, let's just go to his end, because we're going to need to talk about the gallery and your art exhibition. And our time is already going quite quickly, I see.
Yeah.
Now tell me about I know you said that he got back into drugs, that there was a darkness in him and the light. And as Rumi says, we've all got that within ourselves. We all have to be reaching towards the light, out of our darkness. And there were times when Isaac was not able to get out of his darkness. And then his darkness was actually fed by drugs, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And by the gangsters that he was part of, the gangsterism that he had been part of before?
Yeah. So the problem is that they had some kind of a hold on him. And this is why Isaac was so happy to get out of this country and to start new somewhere else. You know, the first picture Isaac sent me of himself, I intuitively told him, oh my God, you're like half angel, half devil. He said, how do you see that? And I said, one eye is very open and naive, and the other eye looked like it'd been through things. And he said, this is very accurate. He wrote me a lot, and he's quite an amazing philosopher. He had a philosophy, he had a knowledge, a lot of spiritual knowledge that I learned from a lot. He taught me a lot of things that I was not aware of and I was not open to. Isaac had a dark side to him and a light side to him. I accepted both with love, and I was trying to teach Isaac to shine light stronger so the dark doesn't take over. He was afraid. There was a lot of fear that comes from his background, his abuse, and was also afraid because this people sometimes was threatening him. So he was trying to jump from, you know, it's like to eat the cake and leave it whole. And that's what happened. Isaac started smoking cannabis, which I wasn't approve of, because I knew that this is just an interleading door to other drugs. He was trying very hard to hide it, but it was, you know, it was impossible, because the minute Isaac is on drugs, the whole atmosphere changed, the energy around him changes, his motivation goes bad. And we had a lot of conversation, and he attempted few rehab centers. He always became a speaker at the rehab centers because he was so intelligent, and everybody immediately fell in love with him. He had that kind of personality. But one horrible day, Isaac told me, you know, he made a decision, and he's never going to use drugs again. He's coming home. He's going to do the conversion course, and he's going to go to Israel. And he's going to be what I always wanted for him, is to share with the world that amazing music, because it was not about money. It's never about money. My exhibition is not about money. It's about opening people's heart and making people understand that at the end of the day, this is not the aim. Making money is not the aim. The aim is to open the hearts to see that even in the most darkest place, you can shine a light, you can light a candle, and something good can happen. You know, even now, relevantly speaking about where I come from, at the moment, we also experience a lot of choshech, a lot of darkness between the people. And at every platform possible, I always speak about that's what we're supposed to do here, the light that we're supposed to bring. And Isaac knew that. He knew that. He was very aware of this. He even wrote to me in one of his emails that he's so sorry for what he put me through, and maybe as a spirit or in the next world to come, he'll understand things better, which is true. But at the end of the day, He did. He gone with his friends that night, and one of them hit him with a brick on his head. He still made it. He came home, and he was okay. He wasn't bleeding, but there was a slow bleed in his brain that was unfortunately neglected. I always say that Isaac was murdered twice. He was murdered by his attacker, and then he was murdered by medical negligence, because yeah, he lay in hospital for 10 days at COVID time, so I couldn't get there. But I was calling them every day to find out, and they said he's perfectly fine. And the last day, on the 8th of September, they called and they told me that he's perfectly fine and I must come and collect him. And I arrived to the hospital and I fetched him. He was very emotional and he was very happy to see me. He cried a lot all the way home. He was holding my hand. And when we arrived home, I put him in bed and I sat next to him. I held his hand, and really, almost like something out of a movie, he literally died in my arms. Yeah. And 2 years before it happened, I had a dream, and I told Isaac, in the dream, somebody hit you and you fell in my arms, and I'm very concerned. And he said to me, well, that's not a bad dream, Avital. If I die in your arms, it's a blessing. And yeah, unfortunately, yeah, this is what happened. That's what made me, through grief.
Through grief to actually start painting. We're going to get back to that shortly.
This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson, only on 101.9 High FM.
Hello, this is Sue Jackson, and I'm back with my guests, Avital Lang and Chandrey Howburg. And you can SMS us if you'd like to on 34519. The time is going very quickly, but I'm wanting Avital to tell us about the last day of Isaac's life and what she is doing in memory of him at the moment and of his dreams. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, there you are. Right. So died in your arms. I mean, exactly as you thought. Do you think he actually waited to come home to be with you to die?
Yes, I think he did. He waited 10 days. And when I brought him home, it was really almost like he wrote that script. He just literally died in my arms, and I thought that he fell asleep. It was that peaceful, because I put my iPhone watch on his hand because I wanted to check his pulse, and his pulse was very high, and I was getting very worried. So I called Ezra for help. And then I saw that the pulse is going lower, and I was happy. I said to myself, okay, maybe he had just a little panic attack and it's fine. So all this time, his hand was holding my hand like that. And even after he passed away, which I wasn't aware of, his hand was still holding very strongly to my hand. I did take my Tehillim out and I started praying. But when Ezra arrived, they said to me that he's gone. And I was in such a shock. I said, no, he's sleeping. And I said to Isaac, what is this nonsense? Isaac, open your eyes. Are you pulling a trick? Because Isaac was also very funny. He used to pull a lot of tricks. So that was terrible. It was really a shock. And the grief was terrible. I remember that it hit me really hard. And for like 7 days, I couldn't even bury him because I didn't know where to start from or what to do. And then I realized, I remember that he loved that spot on the beach so much because he always go there with his guitar. And I started talking to his spirit and I said, you know what? This is where we're going to do the special ceremony for you at the beach. Because I felt that this is where he wants to be. So I organized the whole special ceremony and I made sure that his coffin, that everything will be white because Isaac didn't like anything black, and that his music will be played. And I brought some white doves and we made it very special, very, very special. And my children made special speeches for him. It was important for them to speak about it. And I started drawing Isaac because I felt that I need to draw. I need to do something with that grief. And somehow I was inspired to do the lions. I not only did the lions, I also did podcasts in Spotify for people who's going through grief. And that was very helpful. It was helpful for me. It was helpful for a lot of people who was listening.
And right now, I'm actually being told that I've got to start wrapping up. I can't believe it. But I would like anyone listening in, I would like you to go onto the YouTube channel and have a look under Avital Lang, Avital Lang, Lang. And there are two podcasts there. One is Finding Inspiration in Dark Times, and the other one is Story of Struggle, and it's got Hebrew subtitles. And on that, you'll also be able to see her art. There is an exhibition that's coming on. Is that right? Just at the
we will advertise on the exhibition. At the meantime, we're only scheduled to have an exhibition in June in Israel.
Wonderful. It's been wonderful speaking to you. And Chandrey, I never even got round to talking to you, but thank you so much for reaching out to us.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Sue.
And Avital, we will definitely do this again. We started a bit late today, and because of load shedding on your side as well. And we will do it again and do a full program on it, because I think it's such an important topic of reaching out to others and how others reach into us. And it's this mutual connection that is so important for us to learn in our lives as we walk this path. So walk carefully, both of you, and gently, and take care. Thank you
very much, Sue. Thank you.
Thank you,
I sent you the music. Thank you.
Oh, good. Thank you. Bye.